Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to another episode of Becoming an Online Sales Queen. I've got a really juicy topic for us today. It's a question that I get asked all the time. I would say at least 2 or 3 times a week. This question comes into my DMs. And that question is, Rach, if you had to start your business all over again from scratch with zero audience, zero clients, zero social media, zero offers, and zero trust, what would you do? How would you get from 0 to 100K? And how would you do that in the simplest, easiest way possible? Okay. So if you have been maybe struggling to hit 6 figures, if that's been a goal of yours and you are, accelerating 1 minute and then hitting a plateau the next, if you just are, reviewing your business model and you want to recreate your offer suite so that you can get there the easiest way, then you probably want to go and grab a notepad, because what I'm about to share with you, I really do believe is the fastest, easiest way to get to 100K, okay? And I think what I'm about to share might shock some of you, because the online space is full of smoke and mirrors. There's a lot of people saying that they're hitting 6 figures, multi-six figures and more, and they are including VAT in their figures. They're including the conversion from dollars back to pounds in their figures. So not everything is always as it seems, ladies, right? I just want you to always remember that. Take everything with a pinch of salt. And just because somebody says that they turn over 100K doesn't mean that they've got 100K in their bank account, okay? So don't get hung up on who's creating what result and how far ahead or far behind are you right now. None of that matters, okay? What matters is that you are excited about your business, that you're energized about your offers, and that you're selling in a way that feels the most comfortable and the most aligned for you, okay? So I think the simplicity that I'm just about to give you in this plan is going to make you feel quite happy. Yeah. So let's dive in, and you can give me some feedback, maybe in the DMs, and tell me what you thought of this episode, right? So how quick could you create 100K? Well, let me just be blunt and a bit flippant, right? If you were going to create an offer that was 100K to buy, you'd only have to sell it to one client and you'd have hit the goal. Okay. So I want you to start thinking about the higher ticket you can sell, the higher the value that you can put on your expertise, the faster you will hit and exceed your money goals. Okay? Because if I wanted to sell 100K worth of revenue and I created an offer that was 100K, therefore I only had to sell it once, yes, that might feel like I'm hunting a needle in a haystack, I think the saying goes. But actually, selling to one person is a hell of a lot easier than having an offer that's £1,000 and having to sell it to 100 people. Okay. So I want you to start thinking like that. If you want to hit 100K, break that 100K down into how many of my offer would I need to sell in order to hit that goal, right? So let's get into what I would do if I was starting from absolute ground zero. The first thing I would do is I would know that I had to start building my audience, because you can't sell to an empty room. So I would start creating content. But I'm going to caveat that by saying you cannot just create content for anyone, right? About anything. It has to be valuable and it has to align to the offer that you're going to be selling. So if right now you're creating content that doesn't align to what you sell, that will be why you're not generating inquiries, okay? If your content doesn't align to the offer that you sell, to the problem that you solve, to the result that you get, if your content doesn't align to that, that will be the biggest block to you getting inquiries, okay? So if that's you, go rethink your content plan. So if I was going to be posting content right at the beginning of this, from scratch business model, I would post content for around 8 to 12 weeks and do nothing else. I wouldn't sell anything. I would just be sharing content. But I would know in the background about the offer that I wanted to sell. So 8 to 12 weeks in, when I've started to build my audience, I would sell an offer, and I would make sure that that offer also had the potential to then upsell to another offer. So now I'm going to dive into the 2 offers that I would create. The first one is I would create a 6-month evergreen group program, And I would make sure that that 6-month evergreen group program solved a high level problem. I would make sure that that problem felt urgent and important for my dream client. I would build a proven framework, something that I know I have done before, something that I know I have followed step by step, and it's given me a reliable, repeatable outcome. So I would know that that group program needed to have a proven framework for me to be able to generate consistent results for my clients. Because offers that you sell that get consistent results then get great testimonials, which you can then leverage to sell over and over and over again. Okay. So my group would have a high value problem. It would solve a high value problem. It would deliver a powerful result that was urgent and important. It would follow a proven framework, and it would absolutely have activating messaging. Because without activating messaging, your content's going to fall flat. Nobody's going to be reaching out to you. The internet is full, social media is full of noise. There is content coming at us left, right, and center 24 hours a day. You have got to be able to stop the scroll. You have got to be able to stop your dream client in their tracks and get them to read or watch your content. Now, how do we do that? We do that with activating messaging. We do that with hooks. If you haven't watched my hooky hooks video, it's over on my YouTube, or there's an episode on the podcast called Hooky Hooks. If you haven't watched that, please do go watch that. That's really going to help you to craft the best hooks. Because if the hook's no good, everything else is wasted anyway. Because if the hook doesn't hook, nobody's going to read the caption, okay? So your group program has got to have all those things. High value problem, urgency, importance, really, really tangible result, activating messaging. It's got to have all those things. Now, one place I know where you guys get really tripped up is in your pricing. So that group program, that evergreen group, it's evergreen and therefore it's very scalable. I would price that at £700 to £1,000 a month as a payment plan option. And I would therefore price it as a pay in full option around 4 to 6K. Now that might feel like a lot to you, but this is a 6-month program and you're giving them a high value result. You're giving them a tangible, really solid outcome that solves a problem for them using your proven expertise. Okay, so let's not mistake this for you just going, oh yeah, I think I'm going to do that and it'll be all right, it'll be great. No, this is a really well thought out, well crafted offer that takes people through a curriculum, a 6-month curriculum that gets them a result, that solves a problem that's causing them pain. Okay, now that is worth 4 to 6K all day long. I won't hear of anything less. Yeah, so if you're thinking, oh no, I'm gonna sell my group program for 1,000, no, that would be undercharging your expertise. Okay, you must also really do think about the result and what that result is worth to your audience. And if that means you need to do some market research, please go do market research. Okay, so if you're now thinking, right, I want to go create this 6-month group program so that I can build my monthly recurring income, start with some market research so that you can really understand the result, the problem, what the outcome is worth, and therefore you can price it so that it feels really good for you and your ideal client. Okay, so that would be the first offer that I would create, this 6-month evergreen group coaching program. The other offer that I would create, because I would only have 2 offers, would be what I call a micro result offer. So that is a much shorter offer, shorter in duration, and the result is therefore going to be, short and much smaller than the 6-month group. Okay, so when I say a micro result, it could be like my velocity messaging program, for example, which is 10 days inside a Telegram group with me. Or it could be like my Funnel to Freedom program, which is a 22-day self-study sprint. Yeah, where you get a full curriculum built in a portal. There's no live delivery at all. So 22-day self-study, I would call that a micro offer. And my 10-day Telegram, that's a micro offer as well. Yeah, they deliver a really small, really important outcome for your ideal client. And the reason I would create that offer is it's a great springboard into your 6-month group. Okay. Let me explain what I mean. So I've just told you that you need to price your group at 4 to 6K. And your audience is thinking, okay, I've been watching this person's content, quite like her vibe, quite like the energy she gives off. She clearly knows her stuff. She's an expert. I'm following her content, like what she does. They're not always going to be ready to invest 4 to 6K. What they may want to do is come and have a little taster, come and feel what your energy is like, come and get a sense of what it's like to work with you. Get a real feel for your teaching style, the way that you coach, the way that you show up, the energy that you give. Yeah. And so the micro offer, whether that is a 10-day telegram or a 22-day self-study, it gives them the opportunity to solve a smaller problem, get a smaller result that gives them absolute confidence and faith in you so that they then feel confident to invest in that 4 to 6K offer. Okay. So what that could look like, it could be that let's say you're a confidence coach. And so your 6-month group program is everything to do with shifting you from self-doubt, low self-worth, imposter syndrome, not very assertive at work, really not confident at all, to 6 months later being an absolute badass, writing a book, speaking on stages, getting on camera every day, feeling super confident. A big outcome that goes from, where you're really stuck and it's really, really hard to this big, amazing outcome. The micro offer version of that could literally be just getting you confident doing a face to camera video. None of the other stuff, just literally come and join a Telegram group with me. I will give you tips and tools every single day for 10 days. And by the end of it, I'm going to challenge you all to come and do a face to camera with me so that you build your confidence, feel really, really amazing. And that will be your 10-day program done. And at the end of the 10-day program, you would sell them into the 6-month group where they get to work on self-belief, self-doubt, all the other things that are going on for them. Okay, that would be an example. Another example could be if you are, say, a health coach and you want to help somebody to completely overhaul their healthy habits. Now, that's going to take a while, right? But if you wanted to do, let's use the 10-day Telegram example again. If you wanted to do a similar example for that, you can't overhaul somebody's entire mind, body, soul, what they eat, how they exercise, how they sleep, the water they drink. You can't overhaul somebody's life habits in 10 days. It takes 6 months. But what could you do for them in 10 days? Well, you could get them doing, some daily habits like upping their water intake, hitting 10,000 steps, getting your support in this 10-day Telegram group to develop habits that give them the confidence that actually I can do the bigger program. I can make changes in my life that feel good. It doesn't have to feel like a struggle. So you can use the micro result group to help them feel confident to move into the 6-month group offer. And so the pricing for the micro group, I would say anything from £47 up to £297. It needs to be a no-brainer price. I've done groups like that for free. I also did my velocity messaging group for £10 for the first 20 people. It then went up to £17 and it then went up after that. So I created that real urgency for people to get into that Telegram group, knowing that every time I hit a certain milestone of people enrolled, I would be putting the price up so that I didn't get over my number of enrollments that I wanted. I wanted that Telegram group to feel really good for me and good for them too. So let me just recap. You're going to be creating content for 8 to 12 weeks solid, all about the problem that you solve, the result that you help to create in your 6-month group and your micro offer. So your content has got to be aligned to those two programs. Your micro offer is going to be priced at £47 to £297. And then when you get to the end of that micro offer, you're going to invite every single person to come and join you in the 6-month group program. Okay. As long as, it feels like a good fit. Okay. That would be the offer suite that I would create. And obviously we've talked about the problem and the result. And so you get sort of where I'm coming from with that, I hope. Now we're going to get into the bit that I know that you hate the most, which is the sales bit. So what I would do is I would sell the micro offer first. So you've been creating content for 8 to 12 weeks. What I would do is I'd be showing up in my stories, I'd be creating carousels, I'd be creating reels, I would go live, and I would sell that micro offer. And I would be aiming to get like 20 people in the first round, not hundreds. It doesn't have to be hundreds. I would aim to get 20 people in the first round. And let's just say averagely, let's take a figure of 197. If I priced that micro offer at 197 and I got 20 people into it, that is around 4K. Yeah, it's just under 4K. So 20 people paying me 197 for a micro result makes me 4K. And then let's just say at the end of that micro offer, I sell them into the group. And let's say 50% of them, I've seen it as high as 80%, guys. Like when I was running regular 3-week live sprints, I was seeing conversion rates of 70 to 80% of people were upselling into my other offers. Okay. So I feel like I'm being conservative at 50% conversion, but you could also work out these numbers based on, 2 out of 20, 3 out of 20, 5 out of 20 coming into your group. But let's just say I'm right, yeah, just for argument's sake. 20 people in the micro offer, 50% of them know that you're the person that they want to come and work with in the 6-month group. And let's say that group is priced at 5K. 10 of them pay 5K, you've just made £50,000. Let me say that again. You've just made £50,000. How does that feel? Oh, it feels good, right? So add the fact that you've done a micro offer that made you 4K to the fact that you've just sold your evergreen group and made 50K. Add that together, that's £54,000. Now, with those two offers, this is where people get it so wrong. And I have to say, I got this wrong too. So, I'm no angel. I'm not saying this from an ivory tower. I made this mistake and I don't want you to make this mistake as well. I then thought I need to go and create loads of other offers. And you really don't. Because you've just made 54K with that combination of offers. All you need to do is do it again. And you've made 100K. That is it. That is all you need to do. And bearing in mind that the group offer is evergreen, you don't have to wait for the 6 months to end before you then sell more people into it. It could simply be that the first 10 people into it all came on a Wednesday call with you, and the next 10 people end up coming on a Thursday call with you. You don't have to have them all in the same Zoom call if that makes you feel uncomfortable, and maybe, looking at 20 faces on a Zoom call is a very different kind of Zoom call than having a smaller, intimate conversation, okay? So, in answer to the question that I posed at the beginning, how would I take my business from 0 to 100K in the easiest way possible? This is it. 2 offers, micro and 6-month evergreen. And actually, I've just given you an example where you can make 54K fairly quickly. And then however much, time you want to wait until you do that again, you can make another 54K. But by that point, your audience will be bigger and you'll probably have more than 20 people in your micro offer. Okay. So when you rinse and repeat this strategy, it just gets easier and easier and bigger and bigger. Okay. So I'm going to call it a day here because I want you to go and cogitate on that strategy. Really have a think about, how is that strategy different to the one that you're using? Where could you strip back on any complexity that you've got built into your business? Have you got too many offers? Are you selling at lower than the, correct price for the result that you create should be? Like if you're an expert, right? If you really do know in your heart of hearts that you are so bloody good at what you do and your audience are craving the result that you help to create, why are you undercharging? Okay. I know that you're not on your own. So many of us are, right? I definitely undercharged for ages and I don't want that for you. Okay. So Go and cogitate on everything that I've just explained to you, and I will see you in the next episode.